Hi, my name is Jill White-Huffman. I'm a licensed professional counselor and a marriage family therapist. I'm located in Greensboro, North Carolina. One of the things that I'd like to do is to invite you to visit my Facebook page. I will try to have topics, some things that would involve issues and challenges that I see in my private practice. And some of them come from just some of the research topics that I've studied over the years and what I thought might be helpful to individuals. So if there's things that you feel like are helpful to you, then I certainly do invite you to read more of it. Or maybe there's things that you may find that could be helpful to some of your friends or family members. And so I invite you to pass it on and share. Also, visit my website because you'll get to learn a little bit more about me and the specific areas that I work with. Today, what I've come to talk to you about is just being able to really overcome some of your self-esteem issues by building self-confidence. One of the ways, of course, to build self-confidence and to overcome self-esteem is to change how you feel emotionally about yourself. One of the ways that could be helpful, of course, is that you've got to tell yourself on a daily basis that you deserve more. And so a lot of times we tend to settle because we think that we're not good enough or that these particular things cannot happen that are good and positive for us. So we've got to tell ourselves, speak to ourselves on a daily basis and say, I do deserve more. So the other thing is that another way that could be helpful in you building your self-esteem is, of course, just remember that you only have one life, and so you want to take advantage of it and you want to enjoy it. So each day to maybe plan something that could be good for you. So it could be something really small. It could be as small as saying, at the end of the day, I'm going to watch my favorite television show to relax and enjoy. It could be, okay, I am going to set this particular goal for myself. And then at the beginning of the next morning or so, I'll then give myself time to meditate and enjoy and relax and do some stretching to invite more energy and better circulation so you can live with discomfort. So how do we do that? And so we then try to sort of challenge our personal fears. So what we do is we have to limit the number of days that we that we put a lot of strong demands on ourselves. So sometimes that might be prioritizing things. So we may have to say, look, I need to come up with a calendar and organize my life a little bit better so that every day is not stressful and that it's not demanding. I need time to exercise. I need time to rejuvenate. I need social time. I need time for my family and my friends. I need a long time, just time to just do nothing. If I want to just take a bubble bath or I want to just read a book or just look outside, and just kind of not think about anything. So certainly those things would be important in building our self-confidence because that's something we have control over and we can do. The other thing, of course, is that we understand that mistakes and failures are good. A lot of times we want to beat ourselves because we do make a mistake or we don't accomplish something. But what we want to do is realize that, one of the ways to achieve is that we have those setbacks. And from those setbacks, if we can look at them as ways to develop and grow and learn more, what it does is it enhances our well-being because we say, oh, well, I tried this way, but what I learned from this, and anytime we learn something, it always enhances and triggers, the chemicals in our brain that gives us that certain amount of accomplishment and well-being there, which is always really positive. So we don't look at mistakes as failures. We look at it as a way to grow. Of course, we want to think about our thoughts and our beliefs and really be able to look at what's reality and what's not reality. So we're thinking about those rational and irrational thought patterns. So when things come to us, especially when we're talking about developing and enhancing our developing our self-confidence and alleviating some of these self-esteem issues, then we have to say, okay, is this true or is this not true? And sometimes it could be a little bit of both. But what we do is that, if our thought process is sort of scrambled and we're kind of struggling with the irrational and the irrational thought processes, is that we come into that middle ground, that awareness and that mindfulness of thinking like, okay, what parts of this do I have control over? What parts do I not have control over? And then we work on those things that we can control. The other thing, of course, is that our actions, they always help. So we want to be proactive when we're doing things. We don't want to just sit back and not be proactive. So if you've got a goal, then, go ahead and try to move forward in that goal. It's always good to set short-term goals, not long-term goals, because sometimes it could be a little bit harder, especially if you already struggle in that area. But do the action. Don't always just keep it set in the mind and not act on it. Again, if you make a mistake, it's okay. It's always usually one step forward, two steps back, then go forward a little bit more, and then a little bit. And then when you go back, it's not as far back. The biggest thing is that you're practicing, and your actions will help. If you go ahead, reach out, try to start doing something. As you're doing it and you're practicing it, it becomes better. It's just like when you change your eating habits, when you start exercising. It doesn't always feel good at first, but you pack your bag in the morning because you know that if you come home, it's likely that you may not be able to get back out there and do it. You may find things that distract you. So you pack your bag and you say, okay, Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays, I am going to walk at least 10 minutes a day. You've packed your bag. You've done it for at least over a 30-day cycle. And so then what happens is your body then begins to crave. So that's a part of showing more actions as opposed and being more proactive as opposed to just thinking about something to do and not moving forward in it. And of course, beauty, is so overrated. So try not to compare yourself. Comparing yourself can certainly put flaws into, self-esteem issues already. So, just remember you're uniquely made. You're an individual of your own. There's not any way that you will be, look like, think like, anything like another individual. You are your own unique person, and that's the way you are designed to be. Comparing is very toxic. So remember, anytime you try to compare, it's going to set you back a little bit. Appearance, of course, is deceptive. So you don't always have to look 100%. The biggest thing is that you're looking the best that you can for that particular time frame, and you're doing the best that you can. So again, appearance can be bad. It can be unhealthy. It can be very toxic because, again, then you go into that comparison. Now, just sit back, relax, and I'll come up with I'll hopefully be able to provide some other helpful tools that may help you overcome some self-esteem issues. My name is Jill White-Huffman. I'm a licensed professional counselor, a marriage and family therapist, and I'm also a licensed massage and bodywork therapist. over the years, I've had the opportunity to work with lots and lots of individuals. In my private practice as a massage therapist, I've worked with just so many different chronic issues. I've worked with people that are just enduring a lot of stress. I tend to use a lot of different modalities. People will ask, Jill, what do you most specialize in? Of course, you'll be able to visit my website if you have an opportunity, and it'll tell you some of the things that I work mostly with, the modalities that I work and techniques that I work most with. But I will say, I don't call myself one particular therapist. I tend to try to work with the body, with the different needs and the different elements that you express, and those areas that I feel as I am working on the body that may need some help. So it just depends on what's going on, is the technique that I use. You know, as a licensed professional counselor, of course, you'll see that about 98% of the population that I work with are couples, but that does not negate that I do not work, that I will not work with individuals, because I do work with individuals. I work with individuals with just all types of issues. People come into me because, you know, they're making some life adjustment situations. They may be encountering some stress related issues, adjustment, some grief and loss. I work a lot with depression, anxiety, and some of the PTSD as it relates to just some of the traumatic events that have happened in people's lives, or as it relates to, say, postpartum depression, or some of the infidelity issues that people have struggled or are working through. So again, I do encourage you to visit my website. I have a lot more information there where you can learn more about me. And also go over to my Facebook page. There's so many different topics that I write about, and hopefully there's some tips that I can share with you, some things that may be helpful to you with different issues. So as it relates to something physical, as it relates to something emotional, or it could be mental, emotional, or physical. So again, rush over, look at my Facebook page, and I hope you'll enjoy reading some of the topics. Now, I hope that, you know, the segment that I'm sharing today has certainly been helpful to you. If you've got any questions, do feel free to call me. The number, it's 336 855 1860. 336 855 1860. Thank you. Now, when we think about self-esteem, more things that we can think about that could be helpful, of course, is, you know, just remember that most of your fears are just illusions. We can think ourselves into fear. And so typically fear will definitely promote a lot of anxiety for us. So we're already assuming that something is going on when there's no real basis or reality to indicate that that really is a true thing. And so you may always feel that some amount of fear, and you may always feel that some kind of fear and anxiety, but of course you want to use your logic mind and just to remind yourself that this is really not what's going on, and it certainly is not going to kill you. So sometimes that can slow you down and help build some self-confidence and lower some of your self-esteem issues. You have many accomplishments, and so sometimes we focus so much on the negative aspects of our life and our thinking and the things that we feel about ourselves, that we don't look at our accomplishments. So notice some of the things that you've accomplished throughout this day. Notice some of the things that you've accomplished throughout this week. So give more gratitude towards that and helping to build your self-confidence. Of course, healthy relationships begin with self-love. And so if you've got really low self-esteem issues, it may make your relationships suffer a lot, because what it does is it reinforces to others that you're clingy, you're needy, you're just it's just a lot of work. So it'll push them further away. And so the goal is to bring people towards you. So you've got to some way put some time aside so that you can work on those individual areas that may need some improvement. So if self-esteem is certainly something you struggle with and you need some self-confidence, and in order to bring people closer to you, work on that area. Of course, people pleasing backfires. Sometimes we work so hard at pleasing others that we don't take time to please ourselves, and so we're constantly doing what they want to do or meeting their needs and their desires, and we don't express our own, and so then we become a little bit more passive. We can become more passive in our approach, and so that will definitely bring a lot of internal issues within ourselves, and so that's going to lower our self-esteem, because we always feel like if we don't do this for the other person or what they want to do, then they may not be approving of us or like us or want to be around us. And so the goal is that the relationships are mutual, that you're both doing things that you both enjoy doing. So we talk about it's okay to set boundaries. I mean, when we're developing, trying to develop self-confidence and build our self-esteem, we have to set boundaries. Now, sometimes people may resist those changes that you're making and may feel like they don't want to be around you for a short period of time. But remember, if that person is really invested in a relationship or a friendship with you, they will eventually come back around. And not only are they going to come back around, you're going to teach them some things and they're going to respect you for that. So good, helpful ways to build self-confidence. The other thing you want to look at is, how hard it is for you to let those negative people go. Some people don't need to be a part of your life. Sometimes it's just draining. It's negative energy. They don't put anything in your life of any value. And so it could be pulling you down. So maybe letting some of the people in your life go may be helpful in building your self-confidence and your self-esteem. And of course, the words that you use about yourself are so powerful. So, you've got to use those positive words. And if you can't say anything positive about yourself, sometimes it's better just not to say anything and just to keep working on some of the skills and techniques that hopefully, if you're really having these issues and these challenges, that you're getting some good tools and skills because you're doing some counseling or you've got some good role models in your life that are helping coaching you along. So again, if you don't, if you use those negative words, it's going to be something that you're going to start practicing about yourself. And so again, it's going to keep you in a stupor. Use your instincts and your judgment, as sort of your best choice of how you're going to handle certain situations. Try to practice that. I know, for people who struggle with self-esteem issues, they may think that they can't make good judgment decisions, but try to step out on your own without other people's input. Go with your gut instinct. You'll know and feel when something's not right, so then you can push away and maybe just do a little piece of it just to test and see. That will definitely build your self-esteem once you see that it has been powerful and that it has worked for you, and then you can interject or put those other pieces in there. So good, helpful ways to build self-confidence and reduce those self-esteem issues. You want to be present in the moment and in reality. So, just all these magical wishes or dreams. I mean, it's certainly good to set goals and to have dreams and visions, but you want to make sure that it's reality. If it's something that you're thinking about yourself that is lowering your self-esteem, and it's not rational, it's very illogical, there's no facts to back it up, then you've got to push a little bit more towards that positive side or really, really be able to really address those things with the tools that you're using, and be able to look at what it is that you do have control over, and to be able to control what that reality is right now. So even if it's just in that moment, like we said, setting those short-term goals. Of course, you're more capable a lot of times than you think. Sometimes we tend to think that because we've made some mistakes, or we don't think kindly of ourselves, we have to remember that we're a lot more capable. And so we want to aim towards some um, reaching high successful goals and tools for ourselves. If again, these things that I've talked about, you say, well, Jill, it may be easy for you to kind of help me brainstorm, and you point out these things, but it's just extremely hard because I know I've given you a lot of information. Then this is when counseling can be helpful. So if you find that you're struggling with self-esteem issues, and it's really causing you to have low self-confidence, I do encourage you to call me. The number, it's 336-855-1860. Thank you.